Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 161, and today we're going to be doing battle with Akshan Renekton. And so, Akshan Renekton, this is a deck, it turned up in popularity not towards the most recent seasonals, but the one before, I guess 2 seasonals ago, as a big OTK style deck that was looking to kind of deal with a lot of the similar things we're seeing right now. Back then, you're running into lots of things like Aphelios Victor, which would come down and flood the board with the various boom baboons and Reggies and flame chompers and everything, and it was really challenging to come in and actually attack through. And then Akshan Renekton was just like, LOL, I'm going to put a Papercraft Dragon on Renekton and then just kill you in one shot. Block Renekton double striking with your with your flame chompers all you want. We're going to slam in a ton of damage here. And, with the nerf to Papercraft Dragon up to 6 mana, and then you could also call it a nerf as well with the addition of additional fairies for the terms of Face Sprout, the Akshan Renekton's and the Akshan Nars all just kind of fell off of the face of the earth. And it's understandable, but I think a few things have happened. We've kind of come back into a meta that functions very similarly, right? We're seeing a lot of Ezreal Kinnan. We see a lot of the Nami Twisted Fate decks. These decks that just put a bunch of stuff on the board and say, okay, I'm just going to try and win the game on turn 9 or turn 10 or so. The slight difference between now and then is that a lot of these decks do play things like Homecoming, to where in the past, if you were playing against Victor Aphelios, you would have to say, okay, well, I need to be ready to deal with a Mystic Shot or a Mystic Shot Get Excited, and you could get through it with stats, but up against Homecomings, it can be a little bit more awkward because they just send your unit back regardless. But I think we have the ways to deal with that. And so I was wanting to kind of circle back to Akshan Renekton. I really was looking for a way to use Kaisa. I like the idea of the Overwhelms and Kaisa and that 4-cost Evolve unit, but that always just felt a little bit short to me. I couldn't quite get the numbers together that I liked, but I think we're back into a good space here with Renekton and Ruin Runner, not totally being all in with Renekton, but having some great combos with him nonetheless. And so the great combos coming in with Renekton are the new equipment, the Buried Armory. Putting this onto Renekton is a big mana investment, but it's not as expensive as trying to use a Papercraft Dragon, and then a single challenge with the Buried Armory will flip your Renekton. So Renekton's a 4/4. He gets the +2 attack when he challenges up to 6. The Buried Armory gives him +4 up to 10. And so you can very quickly get him flipped. The next big thing is, instead of using Bandle City, that's where Papercraft Dragon is, we've brought ourselves over into Ionia, and this gives us an additional angle in terms of closing out the games, Cataclysm being the big one. If we can set up a Renekton with an equipment attack and then get a Cataclysm, he gets a lot of bonus stats across all of these additional attacks. And so Golden Aegis here to provide the same kind of effect, but since we're more of an OTK style deck, I like the cheapness that comes with Cataclysms, along with the additional interactivity. The secondary kind of backup plan to the Renekton is the Ruin Runner. Same kind of deal. It comes down with a Spell Shield. If you give it a Buried Armory, it's probably going to end the game. If you give it a Buried Armory and then an attack and then a Cataclysm, should also be enough to win the game. And so this is our package to kind of deal with all of the just board style decks of the format. The other kind of things we have going on here are things that you would see more so out of an Akshan Sivir deck, to where you're trying to control the early game. We have a handful of challengers with our Fleet Feather Trackers and our Petricite Broadwings. Have some additional interactivity with the Merciless Hunter. Akshan, of course, just a super fantastic early late game play. And then the Dark and Bloodletters pull double duty here, right? They give us a slight edge on our challengers. They let our Fleet Feather Trackers attack up. They give us some additional units if we have to just immediately trade away our Petricite Broadwing. And then the Bloodletters is a fantastic target card for the likes of Akshan. Lots and lots of decks running around now trying to fully take advantage of Akshan Dark and Bloodletters, whether or not that is Akshan Riven or Akshan Pantheon. Lots of decks trying to take advantage of this, but we're just using it as a sort of minor package here. And so where you would see a lot of these plays with a Sivir, we have a lot of the same things with Renekton, but we get a lot more punch out of the Renekton here having him lined up with Cataclysms and the like. The last thing I do like out of this deck that you don't see out a lot of the other ones are the actual value of Heedless Resurrection. This does work out nicely in, say, Mono Kaisa, but you see a lot of decks that have Heedless Resurrection in it that don't take great advantage of it, and resurrecting a Renekton is a pretty big advantage, especially when you can make him immediately relevant with the likes of Cataclysm and Golden Aegeus. And so, this is it. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. We do have to pay the pay-to-win price before we get into battle. I did look. Our boy, Forsaken Bakai, has not been turned premium yet. It surprises me. This guy's being showing up all over the place, mainly just as a cheap predict, but he's doing quite a bit of work out there. Okay, so let's get into battle. Another meal for Renekton. See if we can't win a game or two. All right, going up against Frank with the old Gwen Sejuani. Sounds good. All right, we'll hang on to our Fleet Feather, look for some other early game stuffs to do. They tend to have a little bit better early game than we do. It's not particularly exciting trying to Fleet Feather Tracker into the various Vile Feast cards. It doesn't work that great into the early game challengers, but we at least have something to do here. This was not a particularly strong draw, although the Rite of Negation could potentially counterspell a Harrowing here on turn 6 or turn 7. Nightbird, get down. You hear, Frank? Yeah, push them buttons, bro. There you go. You did it. So we've played quite a bit of Sejuani Gwen over the past few videos. You should be familiar with it if you follow us day to day. They're going to try and play a 2-drop Overwhelm into a 2-drop Overwhelm into a Troll Chant. That's kind of angle number 1. Angle number 2 being, let's just have a bunch of good Harrowing plays or Hallowed plays. And then they'll eventually get some Hallowed bonuses through their Overwhelm units, and then they'll have the big Harrowing at the end to hopefully resurrect just a bunch of Overwhelm units to finish out the game. This is some of the real power in the Bloodletters, right? We didn't have a very good start, just the Fleet Feather Tracker and the Bloodletters, but we have lots of interactivity now with threatening challenges into his Ruthless Raider. Really surprised he didn't attack here. That's very odd to me. But you know, say we didn't draw the Fleet Feather Tracker. I suspected we would have got a trade last turn, which we didn't. But say we get the trade, the Bloodletters come back down. We get to go into our turn now. Put the Bloodletters onto the summoned unit. Just have a lot of our mana spent while we're not out here doing a ton. This is fine. Basically just trading a Troll Chant for the Fleet Feather Tracker. Now, I don't have to replay the Bloodletters, but I think we want to. I'm just going to go ahead and slap it back on to the Fleet Feather Tracker. We have the additional Equipment Maker in hand and the Combat Cook, and so there's a non-zero chance that we can swing this equipment back over to the Dark Enthrall and maybe give it a bonus later on in the game. Okay, then I like Combat Reel here. We have a lot of spell mana stuff in our hand, and we're pretty much the control in this matchup. So if we can get some damage prevention, that's going to be nice. I don't have a way to, like, if we drop the other dude that just can't block, we're just going to get domed this turn. Okay, let's take our time. And let's start equipping stuff. I mean, I want to be set up for an open attack next turn. I think we just go ahead and equip one of these little guys. And then I think we're probably going to be stuck just Ruthless Predatoring down the Raider, but let's see how things go. Picked up a second Bloodletters. We've got to be spending the mana here, right? So he now has the good block onto the combat cook. I think that's okay. Like it doesn't feel like the kind of spot to where we want to just come in and Ruthless Predator down a Ruthless Raider. But we can protect over here to the right. And then the thing I didn't really get into with the equipment is it does play into the theme nicely here of closing out these games with Overwhelms. If we need to come in and just start summoning Zolani, right? Nothing wrong with a 7/7 Overwhelm. Closes out games pretty handily. All right, let me see. I'm kind of leaning towards I want to put the Bloodletters onto our combat cook and then Cataclysm our combat cook into the Gwen so that we still have a unit on board that we can sacrifice to Zolani. So he can like troll chant out of this combat, but I think it's probably worth the risk here. Getting rid of this Gwen would be fantastic. Oh, I keep looking for my water. I totally don't have it. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's see what he does. I mean, if he tries to... Well, he doesn't have the Harrowing mana now. I was going to say, if he tries to drop the Harrowing on us, we're ready. We have the Rite of Negation. And then if he starts playing other crap, it's not that big of a deal here. All right. We'll take the big damage from the one on the left. Coming at us for 7. That's fine. We're not in atrocity range right now. And then on the next turn, the removal suite that this deck packs is really going to be kind of up in the air. No real telling what they're going to be doing. And so I have the Rite of Negation for a Vengeance. If he has a... if he has a burst speed one, there's nothing we can do about it. But the addition of Golden Aegis gives us a little bit of hope. We're kind of behind on the round since we didn't play the combat reel, but we could potentially get a kill out of it. And he has the flash freeze. It's okay. We can still try and kill next turn. This really slows them down quite a bit if he's having to spend 4 mana on a flash freeze and then not be able to play any more cards this turn. I think he was about to bring in a second one. Not quite sure what the second one would be. I guess it could be Vengeance. Ooh, just another 3 Sisters. Okay. And an Entomb. Just got to let it happen. I'm not going to play the Rite of Negation against a deck packing Harrowings and a deck packing Atrocities. And so we'll save it for the upcoming turn. We interested in Renekton? I mean, the only better draw we would have in our deck compared to Renekton would be Ruin Runner, and so I'm not going to risk it. Let's just go ahead and put it on top. I'm going to put the combat reel onto our Bakai. Well, we have a bunch of mana here if we want. We can put the combat reel over onto the Dark Enthrall and then put the... I think I like this. How much mana... We can't spend 12 mana next turn, right? If we want to write Aegis and Renekton, we're going to be 1 mana short. So I think this is good. Then this way, if we lose the Bakai, we'll still get one of these little Dark Enthralls back. Looks pretty good to me. keep forgetting he can't he can't play atrocities, or he can't play his big spells with only 8 mana. I got to pay a little bit more attention to how much health he has, but still looking pretty strong here. It's going to be pretty tough for us to lose this one, I think. He has a good attack, right? He's hallowed up to like 1,000,000. But is that how he's going to get us? Fuck. We have to get rid of the Bakai. How much is he coming at us with? Oh, shit. We're dead. Fuck me. That was a pretty good Sejuani. We could have beat most anything else, I think. Just hallowed up to 7. He's going to be coming at us with 15. We're going to get hit for exacties. Mm-hmm. Phew. Damn. It's too bad. Too bad. We were so close to pulling that one out. Wonder... That's just one of the strategic things I'll have to kind of remember for the future, is that leaving those low health units around can be a bit of a problem, or maybe we need to just do a little bit more to preserve our health. But I feel like the only spot that we really took damage in that game was when he were from the little hallowed guys. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we just have to be all in on protecting ourselves. All right, we can pivot over to action here. I was... Hands like this are awkward to me, right? We have a very good start in terms of a curve. We have a Bakai into a Broadwing into a Merciless Hunter. We can really affect their board, but Nami Twisted Fate doesn't really care about that so much. You have to be out here and really like finding ways to put in the damage. And we took a very value-oriented plan against a deck where I feel like from the start our strategy isn't right. We should probably just be going after the Renekton plan, because these early trades aren't super important. Like, it is to a degree. You try to make them spend all their mana, right? You want him to have to not bank up spell mana to get his Nami leveled up, but yeah, his draw started out perfectly for them, even hitting that dum-dum. Hitting the Fallen Feline can be extremely relevant here. Assume he'll probably put the Feline in front of Bakai. Maybe take 2 from action because we have the Fearsome on board. Sure. Well, I would assume he doesn't have a Twisted Fate in his hand at this point, if his angle is going to be going for these vulnerable attacks this turn. I guess, I mean, it is kind of free, but... So we'll get lined up for big attacks next turn. He needs another double trouble here to really try and shut this down. But we should get in with a big hit with the Ruin Runner. I don't feel like... Oh, wow, he just does have it all. Boy. Okay. Thought we were going to be able to get some width there. It's just very odd to set up the vulnerable attack like that when you're going to come in and just AoE the board anyways, right? The AoE would have killed everything except for the Twisted Fate. So I'm not entirely certain why he sequenced it that way. Why wouldn't you play Twisted Fate first and then AoE the board, and then you still have access to the vulnerable down on action a little bit later? Kind of odd how they went about that. Not going to get involved in this combat. We have this Ruthless Predator Golden Aegis to try and close the game out with. Comes in with Shelly. So can we win the game this turn? We can give... We have 2 options. We can either... No, we can get the Ruin Runner up to... 8, 9, so we can come in for 18. I think it's probably worth going for at this point. So right, we're going to Golden Aegis. We'll put the barrier onto the Ruin Runner. It should be pretty tough to shut down the Ruin Runner, given it has Spell Shield Barrier. It's like his answers here would be something like Concussive Palm. So I think we should be able to... I want to challenge down Shelly first, so that he doesn't get to keep putting stats on all of his units, but I think this is going to be fine. Where are we at? Do we want to give our units the bonus attack? I was initially thinking in my head that we're going to be getting 2 attacks this turn, and we're not. We're going to have to try and kill with an open next turn. So we probably should just shift over to the predict draw. Is that right? Ruin Runner's gonna... We need to take it up to 7. He's gonna be short. Let's see. It doesn't work out right. Cataclysm's perfect though. And we'll leave Twisted Fate on board, so if he wants to play an additional one next turn, he needs the Twisted Fate to die first. It's got to be a health potion, right? This is not working out as well as I had dreamed. So how do we get around this? We need him to play another unit so we can get a Cataclysm in. I mean, is this even enough at this point? If we Cataclysm the Eye of the Dragon, that'll get us in for 3. Oh my god, this is horrible. None of these mathematics worked out. It's like I started planning these turns thinking I was going to get to attack twice last turn, and that was just completely wrong. Let's see what our predict is. I think we might be able to do something with the additional Ruin Runner. If we play our Armory this turn, we can get the Armory Ruin Runner on the follow-up. But it's starting to be a little scary. Ugh, I don't like this. Sure. I think we might be okay, given that he's only got 2 cards in hand, and even if he does start to pop off with a Nami, it's going to be fairly tough for him to actually kill us. So we might have stalled out. He's probably on kind of a Twisted Fate plan now, but he again doesn't have a ton of stuff to do here. It's only coming at us for 12. Oh, I think it's probably reasonable to get rid of the Concussive Palm and then stop.
Out here, you're moving or you're dead.
All right, well, the perk here is we do have a million mana, our spell shielded units, and a Cataclysm, and so hopefully we can punch through this. He just played the Manifest thing, right? So he's picking up the Cataclysm out of our hand. I'm not sure what happens if you play the... this is the Plunder Manifest thing, right? Oh, Manifest a Follower. Never mind. I was going to say, I'm not entirely certain what happens if you play that and I only have 1 card. I was like, holy shit. I was like, holy shit, he just hit a big one. Wasn't quite it. Okay. We're good. Alright, so he's got a Nami, but again, he only has 2 cards in his hand. We should be pretty safe up to this point.
Embrace the current or be swept away. Out of the way.
Okay, let's try and take down the Nami with the weak one. Is Steve gonna flip? Let's just get him out of here. No reason to leave Twisted Fate up.
Surrender.
Alright, now we'll try to win with Cataclysm. They do play Deny, so there's a non-zero chance he can still get out of this game, but gotta try and stop him. He's thinking. Oh, come on. Okay. Are we dead now? I think I'm happy with the units that we challenged down. Can't play 2 spells for Shelly. Oh, fucking kidding me. Okay. Okay. Wow. I mean, there's an extremely high chance we just get lethaled here. We can block the tail of the dragon with our Ruin Runner. That's his biggest source of damage. Jesus Christ. Insane.
My desert, my rules.
Alright, well, we're not dead, I guess. He can healing potion back up to 6. Oh my gosh. Insane. Well, let's see. We gotta pick up a good one. I'm not sure what would ever win us the game here, given what we have, but Zolani might be close enough. Come in for 11. Of course. Whoa, what? Why? He just has to have something else, right? Oh, we were at 1. Oh my god, that was absurd. Now, granted, we didn't play that one to perfection. I don't believe. I started having my the plays I was envisioning were not exactly correct, so we could have completely missed out on something there. But that was an insane sequence to have to go through for him to dig out of that one. It's fucking wild. All right, moving on. What else can you do? So here, I'll hang on to the Buried Armory. This is the kind of matchup to where it's not spectacular. They have the means to just deal with a big unit. They tend to play a bunch of concussive palms in this deck, and so if we're going big with the Buried Armory onto Renekton, it just doesn't feel very safe. But I think it's reasonable enough to hang on to here in the early game. Maybe we get to punch in some damage. Not excited about the second one.
I don't do meditation. Catch the wind.
Okay, so now we'll get to drop the Bakai into the Bloodletters. Reasonable use of mana here. See if we get one of those sweet predicts. I'm leaning more towards the Ruin Runner in this match just because it has the overwhelm aspect to it, but I can't remember if this deck plays the Homecomings. I don't think it does. I think they just play Concussive Palms, and so if we're gonna take a turn to where right, we play the Bloodletters here, we still get to attack now. Then we fully bank the 3 mana next turn. Then on our follow-up attack token, we can just go ahead and hook the Armory onto Renekton. It's pretty all in, but it's got a lot of high power to it. It plays well to Concussive Palm. It doesn't play well to Homecomings. Action's an interesting addition given that he's so cheap, but I think this is okay. Is it coming at us? Look at that. Look at that fucking alligator. He's ready. Maybe we'll get him to level 3 this game. Maybe. Well, if he's cycling, that feels kind of positive. Big boom coming in. Okay. So we can't do a ton to stop us, right? We can look to play Action and Cataclysm next turn. It's not quite lethal. We need him to play another unit to get lethal with the Renekton, but I don't think he'll be dropping 1 health units here. And so we're probably going to have to go after the Victor and then look to open next turn. Okay, I guess we're not going to go after the Victor. You just managed to pick up Spell Shield. Maybe that's still okay. We're going to be on this like damage-based path and then getting to take down Eye of the Dragon. Maybe that just feels a little bit safer. Interesting. We get to put the block in with Renekton. He's going to level up and then gets us a little bit closer to the lethal. Should we just save this Cataclysm for next turn? I mean, that's always a fair option. He is going to be flowed. I think that's probably the way to do it. Okay. So probably not super likely to get Renekton in for damage next turn. But you can still Cataclysm even if you get stunned. So he's got some options out here. Oof. Man, I was looking to exhaust the Dragonling and then just we can play Cataclysms next turn if we need to, right? We're not in any real danger of him shutting us down. His blocks here not very good. He's not going to want to put his Eye of the Dragon in front of the Protector. This should just be a concussive palm now, right? But we know that we're still available to Cataclysm.
Your lesson begins.
That's a nice swap. If he's going to concussive palm, he'll have the unit on board. I was like, oh no, we're not going to have anything we can actually hit with the Cataclysm, but we'll be good here now. Okay. So it's a little short of lethal, right? Renekton's going to be a 10 attacking into a 2. But I think this is fine. If he brings in the Nopifies as well. Mm-hmm. All right. Maybe we'll pull something off at some point in time. So is there a world where we ever start to say Cataclysm with the Dark Enthrall, so that we would then get to pull the equipment back to hand and start cycling through? I don't think so, but he did play a 1 health unit here, so we're just going to go for the lethal. These are fine. He's playing memory cloaks and stuff. It's just gonna it's gonna eat up the mana that he has to spend here. All right, so here comes an action flip. I'm looking to just play the 5 attack unit. We should be close enough to getting our lethals in here. I just don't think we'll have time to mess around with the buried armory. Oh my gosh, he's got more spells? Doing. Right, I mean, it doesn't feel like we have time to do this stuff. If we put down the 5 attack unit, he blocks it with the tail of the dragon. We're in for a lethal, but then if he has just like 1 more card, then we're screwed. Doesn't seem like enough. Let's draw. Maybe we'll find a Ruin Runner in here. Golden Aegis is similar in effect. Okay. Oh shit, he doesn't have Challenger yet. Alright, still bringing it.
Your attack is obvious.
Oracle's Eye got stuck. You can read the text while the Oracle's Eye is up here. Shimon Wind, you got it?
You challenge the wind?
It'd be cool to know how much health our opponent had right now. Can't quite see. I guess we just didn't need to know. It's not that important, apparently, to know how much health your opponent has. Well, let's see if we can still win the game. Here's a flip on this Renekton. Small indie company and stuff, right? How much do we need to do? You can't... There it is, 3. We need to deal 3. Okay. Jesus. Don't want any of these. We need this this Golden Aegis to land. So hopefully he'll spend some mana here before we get too involved with this turn. Now if he has a deny, it's not going to be awesome. I'm going to switch around our equipment, so if the Dark Enthrall dies, then we still get that cheap unit out of it. Feels like the deny is about to hit. All right. Hope we're okay. This is a pretty easy spot to get OTK'd by Lee Sin. Oh, he's playing Lee. Yeah, he's playing Lee Sin. I was like, I had to stop and say, like, he's not just playing Victor, right? So I don't like how we did that last turn. Now, with that last turn, we should have played Golden Aegis first, and then if it got denied, we would have been able to come in with Zolani. I'm not entirely happy with how we. We put our units at risk like this. Who do we kill? I'm going to... we need to kill the Bakai. That's where the equipment is. So we can kill the Bakai. Now we can bring in the Overwhelm unit. Now we can put the treasure onto Zolani. Are we even gonna bother? I think this is okay. Let's just play the second one, right? We need to get these overwhelms on board. Give us another angle to try and punch in this just little bit of damage. I guess the question is, do we go for the 2 11/11s or do we go for the right negation? Gonna depend on how much mana he spends. As it stands, like, both of our units are strong enough to kill through this. With the Victor flip, they're not. This feels a little bit safer to go for the treasures. All right. Whew, managed a victory. I didn't know we had it in us, but apparently we can. But right, that's a lot of the late game stuff that I like coming out of these, is having that early game, late game goodness out of Zolani, having the Zolani, the Ruin Runner, and the Renekton all getting big bonuses off of our buried armory, and then the buried armory giving us some additional options with those big units plus the cataclysms. Let's hang on to one Bakai. Doesn't feel like the kind of matchup to where dropping multiples of these things in the early game is going to be spectacular. Now we do have this exhaust action to where we might be able to do something clever on the next turn.
I don't need rules to know good from bad. Scores to settle, cooks to kill. You know how
Clever stuff.
in and out.
That one will lift our spirits for the day. My spirits are pretty good anyways. Lots of exciting stuff. I haven't been talking about the world of sports yet, but we got to today. Today is the day the NFL season truly starts. We'll be ready for our Kansas City Chiefs here in, I don't know, 5 hours or so, 6 hours or so. Getting pretty hyped for the season to start. But other big stuff happening in the world of football. We mentioned in the previous video, I wear our Marshall shirts on here all the time. I went to college at Marshall. I'm from West Virginia. And then if you're familiar with the world of movies, there is the best sports-related movie of all time. It's called We Are Marshall. It's a fantastic movie. It's better than that Sandra Bullock football movie. It's better than Remember the Titans. It's better than Varsity Blues. It's better than shit like The Mighty Ducks or The Rookie. If you want to spend time in Disneyland, it's easily, far and away the best sports movie of all time. Now, the sports movie that has given it some pause is Rudy. Rudy, starring Sean Astin of you can't just say of Lord of the Rings fame. Dude's had a respectable career for like fucking 30 years. But it's safe to say that his best performance probably was in Rudy. What many people think to be the best sports movie of all time. They're fucking wrong. It's We Are Marshall. But to really kind of drive it home yesterday, really get the point home, Marshall played Notre Dame in football yesterday. Notre Dame was ranked like number 8th in the nation. Marshall ranked nowhere near that. And they did battle on the gridiron. They did battle in the lands of football. And Marshall took down victory over the rank 8 the rank 8 team of Notre Dame, not only solidifying us as the best football team in the world, but the best movie related to sports in the world as well. Taking two titles away from Notre Dame all at once felt spectacular. Felt spectacular. So we're in a bit of a spot here. Like, this is such an awkward matchup against these decks. We don't function against them super well. This is another matchup to where we really need to get that punch coming out of our overwhelms. And I went with the action on turn 2 as a value play in front, and then he had the Salter, which is kind of painful, but whatever. Ooh, now we have our option to strike. Right, we get a free shot to take down Evelyn. Is he ever going to have a 1-mana play to stop us here, though? Like, I'm feeling like we can still add in the Bakai. and not have to worry about Evelyn flipping.
This is justice.
Right, just get this shit out of here. No hate spikes. Nice. Okay. So we've got some board, but as we talk over and over and over again, we haven't done any damage. We're not dealing any damage. We have to get our overwhelms down before we can even start thinking about damage coming in. And opponents still just fine, right there. Their plan's going okay. They're building up their soldiers for Viego and everything. Like, our opponent is not upset about how this game has gone outside of getting their Evelyn smoked. So this is exactly the importance of having the overwhelms, and why having this this thing onto action isn't exactly the best thing in the world. We can bring in the squad, though. Gonna hook Sultur in with the Broadwing, our other bros ready for battle.
Take a load off.
Okay. So the thing I kind of want with this Golden Aegis is we would like to have some kind of real build-up turn for our Renekton, to where he like gets a challenge and gets some bonus attack and then gets to re-attack a little bit later, and not just have it be quite so crappy. Okay, Ruin Runner gives us an additional overwhelm. That sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and bring back the Renekton now. I was gonna wait a bit on this, but if we're gonna be spending 5 mana next turn on Ruin Runner, then we should go ahead and make sure we get the full 3 bank and don't lose out.
I do this for her. Come on, lover boy.
Come on, lover boy, time to put you to bed. You tell him, Action. You tell him what's up. Alright, we gotta get something big going next turn, though. We'll just take as much damage as it takes here. And we got to find a way to get some damage in. Okay. That's as good as we could hope for. We don't have to worry about atrocities now. We can still try and get a kill this turn. Gonna dig with the Relic of Power, though. Would like to find a Ruthless Predator. Well, we can find it in Renekton. So let's see how this is gonna go. We can't quite throw the vulnerable just directly onto Viego since he has the spell shield. We'll just call our opponent super lucky for achieving that. But we can line up our attack okay. So it's like we want Action to be first. So if he blocks with Viego, we can sharp sight our Renekton up. Then I'm gonna want Renekton in here next. Actually, is that right? Hook and Sultur. Ruin Runner has to get busy in here as well. We could wait on our second attack for Ruin Runner, though. It's probably not good enough. Could have looked stopping to pause to think if we would want to sharp sight our Renekton there.
You are nothing. Worthless.
Yeah, man, we're definitely just not punching enough damage here. This is a real pain in the dick. It's like, maybe the Ruin Runner should have came in just so we could try and splash damage onto Viego. Because now we're in a really bad spot to where the rest of our attacks don't look very good. Right, we can really only come in with these. So it's like if we were going to lose the Ruin Runner anyways, it would have been nice to have it be lost to Viego and chip him down to 3 health at this point. We're not completely out of it, though. We still have some cards we can pick up and try and punch in this last bit of damage. Also, like, he's down to 1 card. Oh shit, Viego's gonna flip soon, though. he's gonna flip. I guess at least a positive is his flip will hit. His flip will land onto Akshan. Right? He kills the most powerful ally. If it's a champion, kill it. Yeah. So we can still try and kill with Renekton next turn. The other option we have is we can draw 2 with this with the Warlord's Horde, but I think we're still in a spot to where we can just outright win this game. Right? We can take 10 from Viego. We have blocks onto this other stuff. And then we can look to next turn Ruthless Predator, our Renekton into domination. Okay, I'm on board. So the way we'll do this now is through Spell Shield, right? We can pick up this. So Ruthless Predator, you get 2 attack, you get vulnerable. One of them. A little bit of that nugget coming at you. Alligator time. Getting them. Renekton watched We Are Marshall last night. He was truly inspired. He said, "This is the best day of my life." Oh my god, does he really have 2 cards? Oh my god. Ugh. Okay. Wow. All right, then. Let's see what you can do the rest of the way here, Akshan.
I don't need rules to know good from bad.
Where does this equipment go? I mean, we don't have to play it this turn, but I think we probably want to. Let's wait. Let's wait and see if we hit an overwhelm. His board isn't, like, ultra concerning right at this moment. And so if we pick up an overwhelm, we might get to mess with it a little bit better. It's not like playing the Treasure of the Sands is going to level up our action a little bit faster. There we go.
Sand and trouble far as the eye can see. You must have heard the scream. I'm starting to get jealous.
And a unit. Wow.
Don't waste my time.
Okay.
While I see what's inside.
So we're going to hit... We can hit with everybody. Well, at least our good units here. Probably going to have to block our Ruin Runner with the Neverglade Collector, so we want to put it over to the left. Oh, all right. Still looks like a good turn. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's what you love to see is the elusive coming in. I know insane, dude. Literally insane. Oh my god. I don't know. I didn't want to complain about the draw perfects since we hit that Ruin Runner in that mix, but come on. To have the Vile Feast plus Atrocity to shut down our one play, and then to draw into Evelyn, and then have Evelyn hit an elusive Husk, and then immediately draw into Viego. I don't know, man. I'm not the one to complain about luck all the time, but that's not a fucking bad sequence if you ask me. So with this, Viego's going to be on board. We can come in and block some of this stuff. Then we just have to be ready for next turn with Renekton. So I would assume he's going to be attacking with Viego. If he doesn't, it's fine. He's going to steal our Ruin Runner. And then we still have some potential to win, given that we can play Renekton, pop the Warlord's Horde. We can get the super vulnerable Absolver's Resurrection thing, and then slam dudes everywhere. So do we spend the last sharp sight? We're dead to an atrocity either way. There's probably no need. Okay. Like, I don't really want to be killing Evelyn when he has Neverglade Collector on the board. Okay, so turn ends. Viego's gonna kill Akshan. We'll pick up the Warlord's Horde on our turn. Renekton should still have Spell Shield, right? Yeah. All right. Why not? It only seems appropriate to just continue to draw perfect. It only seems appropriate. Let's see how that goes. Wow. Okay. We did it. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. Glad we could take that one down. I don't feel like I'm speaking out of line when I say that was some serious draw perfects that we still ran into there. So I feel pretty decent when we were able to take that one down. Go us, GG. Best player in the world according to FTPbus.com. Ooh. Had to get a water after that one. I'm ready now. Hope you're ready too. We got a cat. Kitty, you ready? Come on, girl. Come on. We just had an intense battle. Come on. See if this cat's gonna hang out. She's smarter than her son. Her son's the one that just runs circles around me over and over again. Oh, is she running away? Come on, girl. Oh, yeah. Meow. There you go. She wanted to be on the internet. Say what up, everybody. Meow. See if she wants to hang out. She doesn't seem too enthralled about the idea. Force some pets on her and see if that changes her mind. All right, so here, this is kind of how I felt about that previous game, right? It's like I'm kind of on the edge in terms of holding on to Renekton. It's a must-have in terms of winning these, right? You could perfectly see in that previous game the shit we were running into and the necessity of having overwhelms to break through those boards. It's not the same with Kindred Nasus because they have a lot of like unblockable stuff as well, but it's like if you don't pick up these select few overwhelms, you're in such a bind. All right, Bakai, what you got for us? Could actually pick up the Bloodletters here. It feels kind of bad letting Akshan and Renekton go. I just want to draw those three. How about we switch this from Predict to Scry, and you let me go, okay, just put all three of these back on the top. I want to draw the equipment, I want to draw the action, I want to draw the Renekton. Don't make me pick game. But I think Renekton will be our choice here. I'm going to go ahead and attack with our Bakai. If our angle is to drop Renekton or drop Akshan on turn 2, I don't want him to have a unit on the board to sacrifice to a hate spike. And so if we have to, we're going to play our cards here, try to get a trade. Perfect. So now I feel safe playing Akshan next turn. If he didn't take it, if he just took the damage, I would bank next turn. It's pretty tough for them to be effective on board early anyways. And so if we to go into the next turn, protect our action with the sharp sight, I'd feel a little bit better. But now we get the extra tick on the Warlord's Horde. Okay. reasonable enough place to bank. Like it may have been a mistake to not put down the Merciless Hunter, but I feel much better in spots like this once we're just like a little bit safer. Right, action is extremely relevant in terms of combat when we have this Merciless Hunter backup, but so maybe he'll get a little something going. Interesting. Is this for a Black Spear? We can't stop Black Spear anyways, so kind of is what it is. This is an actual Renekton in our hand, not a grappling hook. So if he does have a kill for Renekton, we have the means to put another one on the board.
Arda's gonna make a meal of 'em.
Okay. Still feels like action's about to get aced. I'll be real with you. I don't think he's going to make it through the turn. Okay, Glimpse Beyond. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. All right. I wish we had a little bit more to develop with the board, but I don't feel like adding the Bakai is going to do anything here. I mean, we do have the exhaust in hand, but I really don't feel like that's going to be bait worthy in terms of getting something out of opponent. All the values, man. He just had like 2 cards a turn ago. He's picked up a ton. I don't think we can hang on to any of these. We have to find our overwhelms at this point. But their deck's doing its thing. Ours is, maybe a little bit. He's just setting up for Renekton now, right? Why would he kill off the 2/1 instead of the right of... Okay, that makes a little sense. I don't think we can counter this. I think we have to save our right of negation for atrocities at this point. We'll see if we're able to take down a Nasus. He has to be fucking huge at this point. 10-10. It's pretty close to fucking huge. You don't have any way to... Well, we can sacrifice out of this, right? We can block and then right of negation. Alright, well, maybe it'll be okay. This is not a great spot to be in. Have to put our big unit in front of Renekton. It's like, I don't really want to block anything else. If he's going to be able to grow Renekton to an 11, then we can't kill him anymore. I guess we could technically get him to an 11 with the Warlord's Palace, but... Oh, Jesus, sounds terrible. We just need another Overwhelm. Maybe we should have let that go. And, this board is pretty big. Right, the idea is if he has a way to sacrifice a unit, well, I guess we can start with this, right? We're going to Treasure of the Sands, our Ruin Runner. Now this is the spot to where it feels kind of bad. There in that early game, we didn't punch in that 4 damage with the Merciless Hunter, because we have some potential for lethal here, right? We can Ruin Runner into the Spirit Leech and try and get a kill that way. And I'm leaning towards like, how much of this we could have set up on the previous turn if we didn't go for... That's fine, whatever. If we didn't go for the Rite of Negation block. So this really just amounts to us needing to find one more point of damage. Golden Aegis. I don't think it's quite enough, but that's like the only angle I'm seeing to get a kill on the following turn. Alright, so we drop you. We need a blocker for next turn. So let's drop a Merciless Hunter. So we have a lethal setup. I feel like we win this game rarely, but we have a blocker for Renekton. We have a vulnerable on this small bro over here, and so we got a shot. It's all we can ask for.
Quit struggling.
No block on the Butcher, right? We need to get our hook in through him. So if our bro dies, we're not going to have the opportunity. No atrocity, man. We made our way through this one. We deserve it. We deserve it.
After them.
Game says lethal, man. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? Oh, man, he's playing cards? Oh, wow, you just fuck. Ugh. Okay. Alright, well. That was a game, I guess. So close. So close. But that's what I'm curious about. You know, we got to that point there at the end, but if we'd been able to get the additional damage in with the Merciless Hunter earlier, right on that turn 3 to where we were trying to protect our action and did, but would we have just been better off going for the additional damage and letting action go? Because keeping action on board isn't super important in that matchup, right? He's never connecting for real damage. The damage is going to come through the overwhelms, and so I think this is another spot that from a strategic standpoint, we took the wrong angle as to where we have like this window in the first couple of turns to where we can chunk in some chip damage, and then we have to accept that like actions and the Bakais and those little sandstone things and shit are just not going to deal damage for the rest of the game, and then we get to kind of hard pivot over to the overwhelms plan. And I think if we would have stopped and thought about game plan from a point there, we should have just gone for the Merciless Hunter, because action's not a huge and important piece of the game plan there. And so I think we approached that one wrong. And so it's unfortunate to get atrocity'd out with the lethal on the stack, but I'm happy we found an angle to win the game after we had some bad strategic decisions in there. And so learning moment for me, learning moment for you. All right, onto the Aurelian Soul deck. This has been fairly popular over the past few days. It's really picked up some steam in the past 2 or 3 days. It's just a function of the meta as to where if you're going to start playing Ezreal Kennen, then they go, watch this. I see what you're doing, but check this out. I'm just going to play Aurelian Soul, and if I don't have to play a unit in the early game, fine. You can't play any of your Kennen bombs onto no units. And then I'm just going to say, here it is. Here it is. All right, on this board, do we want to get started, though? I think it's fairly safe to punch in the damage. We don't need to immediately just be going for the Treasure of the Sands onto Renekton. Now, the thing to note in terms of the removal suite these decks play, they're basically saying, I'm going to lose to Pirates. I don't give a fuck about playing against Pirates. They play 0 Blighted Ravines, and then they tend to play 2 copies of Avalanche. And so they have a little bit of early interactivity, but for the most part, they aren't trying to beat Pirates. It was never a good matchup, and then they'd say, fine, I'm here to beat these super non-interactive decks. If you're going to play Kennens at me, I'm going to play these big blasty units on you. And so as we make that idea, he drops a Blighted Ravine on us, but I assure you that that's the way these decks are more typically built, is no Blighted Ravines, 2 Avalanches. Okay. This guy, he's completely making me look foolish. Not only do I have Blighted Ravines, I've got Trundle Quakes. But more commonly, you're going to run into the stuff I'm talking about. All right, well, let's fucking boom them. We got the triple Ruin Runner here. We got the Treasure of the Sands ready to do stuff. I'm on board. That's probably worthy of a laser beam. Trundle Quake Part 2. Alright. Well, he's tapped out of mana now, so I think we might as well play a unit. Let's just play the Bakai. Well, excuse me, let's just predict for next turn. Do we ever want Sharp Sights? Like, we're 100% playing Golden Aegis next turn. Probably gonna... Well, I think the Sharp Sight might be okay in terms of if we're gonna Cataclysm, we can get something going there. Could we just lethaled? Looks like we could have. No. That Ruthless Predator would have been short. Okay. It's like, hang on. One moment, please. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Time for emotes, bro. Bring in another. Fuck, you're buried in the ice. Alright. Alright. Next game. Final battle coming upon us. Feels good. Feels good. I've had fun with these. I enjoy this deck, and so let's get a little bit more in here. Poor Renekton. He doesn't get much play, he doesn't get much love. I'll serve you up another meal. Say something about Varg. Okay. The Donger and Nora. I think we're okay against this kind of thing. This is a matchup to where that's a lot. I heard you like the Bakai, dog. This is a place to where action can actually be a little bit relevant, though. They do tend to do a lot of the same things to where they come out and completely flood the board. But it takes them more time to get rolling, right? If you're playing against any of the Vigio decks, then just dropping a Cadaverine Soldier goes a long way to just smoking your turn. But with Nora, she doesn't really get anything going with the portals until turn 5 or turn 6 or turn 7. And so you have a little bit more opportunity for action to come in and mess around in the early game. I want to draw a Renekton this early. I think I'm going to pick up the Exhaust. Like, if he comes in and punches with Nora once, I think that's fine. But we're going to need to interact with her before she can come in again. So if he like drops Nora and immediately comes at us, that's fine, but this is a pretty cheap way to interact with her on our next attack. Okay. And then if we don't need it, we still have a million predicts in our hand, so we have a bit of setup for our next few turns. So what you got? It could be a decent Bloodletters. It's like... if we're going to be out here trading out our units, then we might as well get a little bit more value out of these. Not quite ready for the Golden Aegis, so we need to find a real unit. Not super exciting. Our real unit might have to be the Zolani. That's a couple turns away from now, though. We can certainly force some combats here and get our Bakai's dead. So I don't really want to darken Bloodletters our Darken Thrall. I think we just want to continue to put it like on the Bakai and throw them away. But we don't have a real reason to be building up these units, though. Right? We're not going to have a bunch of sacrifice cards to let us take advantage of these Darken Thralls running around. Right? If we had more equipment, there might be a reason to, but we don't quite have it. I'm not too keen on losing action here. Again, he's not doing a ton, but we don't have a lot else really going on. It's unfortunate that this sequenced out this way, but like, what are we doing without action? And it's not a lot. That was a pretty painful sequence, though. That pokey stick was huge.
I will play my part.
And Ruin Runner. I mean, it's probably safe here.
Sand and trouble far as the eye can see.
And if we just have to pass the turn, it's not the end of the world. Drops the Donger. That's scary, though. Donger, you scare me, my dude. All right, well, we got the crew out now. We had to do some top deck in there, but we found the big boys. We're gonna definitely look to Cataclysm down the Donger. We can't just let him sit around and gain a ton of value. What's this? Just drawing cards. Okay. Not terrible. We get the full punch in this way, right? We get the full 6 damage in. May get us in a spot to where... Oh no, it's counter. Is it counter spell? Do we still get a free attack? Oh, that's stupid. This card's dumb. I thought we were still going to get some action in here. Apparently we're not. Okay, I'm gonna save the Dark and Bloodletters for Renekton.
Night falls.
Right, we don't have a ton of ways to just cycle through this stuff. We still feel good about that? Let's see what happens. We're gonna be playing the Merciless Hunter this turn as well. It's just too good. Right, he has 1 3-attack unit at this point, and so if we find ourselves in a spot to where we Merciless Hunter the Catalyzer, hook the Catalyzer with Renekton, then we have very strong attacks with both the Ruin Runner and the Merciless Hunter. So now that he's not adding anything to the board, we have lots of great options with this. Then if he plays 1 more card to fill out the board, we can try and exhaust onto our Renekton and get a good attack in that way. So that's a lethal. I would assume they's probably got something else to do, but just on board with the stuff that he has, he can put 2 health in front of Ruin Runner, and that's enough to smoke him. Heat Spike in the box. Okay. So we get in for 6. Still have some friendly Overwhelm Bros running around. We've got the Bloodletters in hand for the next turn, maybe. Still feels good to present lethals at him. This doesn't seem very nice. I don't approve of whatever's about to happen here.
I've got your back.
I think I'm quite ready for a new adventure.
Okay, Nora's flipped.
I seem to have misplaced
I don't think that's ultimately too scary. We should have actually taken down the Bright Steel. So if he has another copy of the box or something, we don't lose out on all our blockers. But we're getting ready for it again. And we got the stuff, the tools to get the job done. I saw the Cataclysm. We're a mana short of just ending the game with it. I think it's probably still our take, though. It gives us a chance to win the game outside of combat. And we are still in this decent spot. Let's see, he's only got 1 portal, but we're in this spot to where Ruin Runner isn't getting shut down by anything he has right now. The Grump does, but... Oh my god, he's fucking huge. Alright, let's try it again. That's all we can do. I did the mathematics. That's another lethal coming from the Ruin Runner. Fuck. Oh man, it would have been so much nicer if we could get in just a single point of damage. You're still trying, Zolani. Maybe he'll play a 0 healther or something, right? That's a thing? 0 health unit coming at us. Alright, Aegis gives us an option. Are we just dead, though? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not yet. Got that shipwreck order in hand. That's on the scary end of the spectrum. Oh no! If he's just coming in at us right now, I can't imagine. I can't imagine we're gonna win this game. But we got a shot. We got a thing here. He's gonna pokey stick us or something. There's no way he makes that attack with a giant fucking unit in his hand and doesn't have a lethal built up. Yep, GG. And so, not a bad set of games. I'm pretty happy with how those actually played out. Again, as you got to see in a lot of those games, how the meta is kind of shaping up now, and how we're trying to fight that. As we played against the Evelyn deck, we played against the Thresh Nasus deck. Both of those are just flooding the board. For a while, this is like what I describe it. I think all these decks in their essence are exactly the same thing, right? I have a tough time looking at the meta in Runeterra and trying to equate it into something that makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense that if you look at a game like Magic, you see a deck be like 25% of the meta, and that just be kind of the standard thing. Or you look at a game like Hearthstone, there'll be decks that are like 20-25% of the meta, but we don't actually see that break out in Runeterra. And I think I have like multiple theories on why that is, but I think in large part, a lot of these decks are actually just the same thing, and it's just slightly different ways of going about them. And so whenever you see someone put together the meta reports, you do see some pushing of the decks together, right? Say we look at something like Powder Pandemonium, and they'll push all of those together. Or like, do we really need to break out the difference between Nami Ionia and Nami Shadow Isles? like, to a degree, it's nice to see, but in like broad strokes terms of the meta, I don't think that's very useful. I don't think it's very useful to say, like, look at all of these decks that are 5% of the meta, because what are you going to do? You're going to sit down to play like 10 games, whatever you can play in an hour, 8 or 10 games, and you're going to play against each of those decks like maybe one time. And so it's not a super useful exercise, I don't think, until you get up in the space of a deck like Pirates, to where Pirates is like 10-15% of the meta. And so what I think, in large part, is a lot of these decks are doing the exact same thing. And if we look at a deck like Thresh Nasus, if we look at a deck like Ezreal Kennen, if we look at a deck like Twisted Fate Nami, they're all doing extremely similar things. They put a really shitty collection of units on the board. If you're going to come at them with just stats, you're never going to deal any damage. And then on turn 8 or turn 9 or turn 10, they're going to play some ridiculous spell and win the game. And that's how all of those decks break down. And so if we're looking at Thresh Nasus, they're going to sit here and play all the husks and vile feasts and do all this early game blocking, and then they're going to go, LOL, here's an atrocity, right? And then if we look at Ezreal Kennen, they're going to play all of these shitty units. They're going to have Kennens down, recalling back to hand, stopping you from dealing damage. They'll eventually play a bunch of these things, and then they go, LOL, here's an Ezreal with 8 spells. And then if you look at a deck like Nami Twisted Fate, they're going to play a bunch of double troubles. They're going to play a bunch of early game units. They're going to block your big stat plays. And then on turn 8 or turn 9, they're going to go, LOL, I have 3 elusives on the board, and I'm going to cast 5 spells. Like, that's all very similar play patterns, right? They approach the games in different ways. Sure, there's slight differences between all those things, but it's not like you would see in Magic, as to where you have a control deck based on, say, like playing board sweepers, and then you have a different control deck based on 1-for-1 trades and card draw, right? Like those would be kind of like 2 separate distinct decks, and I think a lot of that gets kind of bunched up and grouped together in Runeterra, or it doesn't, I'm sorry. And so if you would be looking at Magic and like some of the slight variations between those decks, in Runeterra those would get broken out, and I don't think that that's really deserves a lot of merit. And so where I think it does deserve merit is if we look at these games and think of the play patterns between those decks I just mentioned, like our Ezreal Kennens, our Twisted Fate Namis, our Thresh Nasuses of the world, and then compare that to the Aurelion Soul deck, right? I think there's a clear distinction between those two things, but not the first grouping of 3 decks and then the Aurelion Soul. And so where this kind of like idea and thought pattern is going is we see tons and tons and tons of decks now all doing the same thing. I think it's kind of a reaction to the Timelines deck that nobody even plays anymore. But those are the decks that we're all seeing now, and you have to have stats to run through them. And that is, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do with this is we have to get our overwhelm units onto the board to punch through these dumb decks that never actually deal with combat. And I think that this is probably a pretty decent way to go about it. And so is it's actually like coming back to it. It's like, is Akshan the actual great thing that we want here? We probably still want Akshan, right? He's just such a gigantic and great value engine, and we do have to assume that decks like Pirates exist in the format where he's even more necessary. But I think I would like the focus that we have here on the overwhelms, and using that as a means to close out these games and have a pretty powerful and important spot in the meta. And so I think I'm going to continue on to battles with this, do a little bit more with it, see if we can't perhaps hit Masters with it, and keep it on going, because I think we have the good shell of something interesting here. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope your Renekton's have been to the Armory. They're as large as you would like them to be. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.